All right, shalom to the 12 tribes. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. So this is going to be a quick edifying lesson on the answer out of most temptations and how to be accepted by the Most High. So you there, brother?
Con.
Okay, all praises. So we're going to go ahead and start in 2 Corinthians chapter 6.
Second
Second Corinthians.
Corinthians chapter 6.
And if you want to go ahead and start on verse 14.
Second Corinthians chapter 6 and 14 says, Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness?
So it says not to be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. What fellowship should we have if we're striving to be righteous with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? As we know, light and darkness do not mix. You have either light or you have dark. Even when you hold up a match or a lighter, the fire doesn't even have a shadow because that's how far or set apart the light is from the darkness, right? Just like in Genesis, the first chapter, when it talks about the light that came from the darkness, speaking of Yahushai. But go ahead.
And what concord hath Yahweh Shai with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?
So, what part should we have with the infidel? Just like Yahushua is set apart from wickedness, right? From idols and from other false gods, from Satan. What part should we have if we believe with someone who is worse than an unbeliever? Because that's the definition of an infidel, right? Go ahead.
And what agreement hath the temple of Yahweh with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as Yahweh hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
So, what agreement had the temple of the Most High with idols, right? So we know, according to this verse and according to First Corinthians 3:16 and other verses as well, that we are the temple of the Most High. So, being the temple of the Most High, right? What agreement should we have with idols? Go ahead.
Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you,
Go ahead.
and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith Yahweh Almighty.
So it says, "Come out from among them, from unbelievers, from idolaters, from the unrighteous, from those walking in darkness," right? This is all the things that it said in the previous verses. Come out from among them and be ye separate or set apart, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So to answer the question right off the top, to be received or accepted by the Most High, you have to be set apart. And this is why it's one of the most um, repeated commands in the Torah, right? If you want to go ahead and get Leviticus 20 and 20 and 26, Baba Kasha.
Con.
So verse 18 it says, "And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith Yahweh Almighty." So he says, "Come out from among them, be separate, and he'll receive you and be a father to you, and you will be his son or you will be his daughter." Right? So there's a lot of people that have names or certain things on social media, especially, son of the Most High, prince of the Most High, daughter of the Most High, princess of the Most High, all of these things. In order to really be that, according to the scriptures, you have to come out from among the unbelieving, come out from among the unrighteous, come out from the darkness in order for him to receive you, right? Tribe of Levi, Shalom, Mark, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. If you want to go ahead and read that up.
This is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, Yahweh, am holy. and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine.
So the Most High says he severs people from other people. Like I've mentioned this many times before, severing is if you sever the limb off of somebody, it cannot go back on. Right? If you sever a chicken's head off, it's not going back on. That's the end of it. It's been severed. It's been separated. So that's exactly what the Most High has been doing a lot in these last days, and especially for me, I'm in a position where I get to counsel with certain brothers and sisters as the Most High puts it on their spirit to reach out. And I can tell you that there's many sisters and many brothers that the Most High is putting the spirit on to come out from unbelievers, right? And whether it be um, those that are just out in the world and just living worldly, not trying to keep the commands or not trying to keep the precepts at all, or whether it be those that claim to be in the truth and aren't really following after Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and are really following after man, right? So that word holy, which he uses twice, as a matter of fact, if you can read it one more time, Baruch Kashaw.
Khan. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I Yahweh am holy, and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine.
So that word holy, when you look at it in the Hebrew, it means sanctified or set apart, right? So in order to truly be set apart from darkness, you have to be in the light, right? In order to truly be not filthy, it's like the example that I've given many times. In order for you to stay white, to have a white garment, you have to stay out of the pig's pen, right? If I had a white garment and I go hang out in a pig's pen, a spiritual pig's pen, right? I'm not going to stay clean for very long, right? So in the Hebrew, when you look at that word, it means to be divided or to be separate, to be set apart, right? And that's something that's very important and very overlooked. And it doesn't get as much, I would say it doesn't get as much, it's not talked about as much as it should be, right? Because if you think about it, like it says here, the answer out of most of your temptations, right? What what's the easiest way, in your opinion, Ak, uh, to 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 get out of temptation or to stay away from temptation?
The easiest way for me to get out of temptation or to stay away from temptation is to simply just set yourself apart from the temptation source.
Con, because how could you? Let's say a brother. I've talked to many brothers and even sisters. They struggle with fornication, right? So I tell them, well, you can't, like physical fornication. I'm like, well, you can't fornicate with somebody if you're not around them,
Con,
right? Or a lot of brothers struggle with weed still. Well, there's no way you're gonna smoke weed if you're not near someone who has weed,
con,
right? So the easiest way exactly is to set yourself apart from said temptation, because it's like when I would teach children, I would do like bullying seminars for jujitsu for children, and we would tell them the first thing we would teach them is you don't look for a fight, right? You back yourself up from somebody. Say there's a kid that's in your face, you put your hand in front of you, back up, and you try to get out of the fight, right? And then if they keep coming, well, then you're gonna have to fight. But the same comes in the spiritual realm. You want to try to separate yourself from it first, right? So the brother tribe of Levi pulled up Psalm 4 and 3. Khan, this is a verse I've been giving to brothers and sisters a lot lately. You want to go ahead and read that out, Baruch?
con. But know that Yahweh has set apart him that is godly for himself. Yahweh will hear when I call unto him.
So this is happening a lot to brothers and sisters where the Most High is setting them apart, whether it be from so-called friends, whether it be from so-called family. He's setting them apart. And I always tell them, I know it can be difficult at first. It may seem like a bad thing at first, but when you're thinking about it spiritually, he has to do that sometimes so that he can hear when you call, right? Because if you're hand in hand with wicked people, right, and he's got to punish them, well, inadvertently you're going to fall under the curses of that household, say if you're in the same household. So if you want to get Proverbs, I believe it's 11 and 21.
Uh,
Proverbs 11, 11 and 21, Baruch Shah. So, Khan, that's a good verse. Know that Yahweh has set apart him that is godly for himself. So it's the Most High setting y'all apart. The brothers and sisters that have reached out to me and said, well, certain people don't want to deal with me no more, or certain I have discernment that I shouldn't deal with certain people anymore, or be in certain situations, certain environments anymore. It is the Most High that is setting you apart, because Satan's not going to set you apart from evil, right?
uh,
So
this
go ahead.
is Proverbs 11 and 21. Though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered.
Khan. So though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Right? Evil people, wicked people are surely going to be punished. Right? But the children of the Most High, those trying to live godly, are going to go free. They're going to be delivered. And the majority of the time, it is because the Most High is going to set you apart, and you're not going to be hand in hand with the wicked, right? Because like it talks about when Babylon is falling. As a matter of fact, if you want to go to Isaiah the 13th chapter,
Uh,
Isaiah 13, when it talks about Babylon falling, it says when wicked people start falling, everybody that's with them is going to fall too. So that's why the Most High is setting people apart from the wicked, those that He wants to be protected, and those who He wants to be saved in that day. Those who aren't going to have to taste of death, right? So if you want to start on verse 11 or verse 9, actually.
Con. This is Isaiah 13, verse 9. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the
So we know.
stars of heaven, oh, Salakia.
Salakia, Salakia. So we know that when Yahushua comes back and the 144,000 and all the sinners are going to be destroyed out of it, right? Go ahead.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
So like it says in Amos and other scriptures as well, it's going to be a day of darkness, of gloominess, not of light, right? It's going to be a very dark day. Go ahead.
And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Go ahead.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold wedge of Ophir.
So he's going to punish the world, the whole world, for their evil, for their iniquity, for their arrogancy, for their pride. He's going to lay low the haughtiness of sinners, right? Those high-minded people that think they're above others, whether it be outside the truth or so-called in the truth. And he's going to make real men of him, of the Most High, more precious than fine gold. Go ahead.
Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger.
Go ahead.
And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land.
So in that day when all these things are happening, all the calamities and all the problems of Jacob's trouble, right? The tribulation, as Christians call it, when all these things are happening, everybody is going to turn to their own people, right? Whoever you're used to being around all the time, every man, every woman is going to turn to their own people and flee everyone into their own land, whether that be just your home, whether that be to an apartment, whether wherever that the case may be, right? Go ahead.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
So everyone that is found, and when you read Second Ezra's 15 and 16, it goes into more detail of exactly what's going to be happening in these days. Basically, going to be like Book of Eli and like all of the apocalyptic type of movies that you see. Everyone that's joined to the wicked people, because remember we read in verse 9 and verse 11, he's going to destroy all the sinners. He's going to punish people for their evil. Everyone found with them, joined unto them, is going to fall by the sword. Go ahead.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished.
And these are the type of things that are going to be happening. Children are going to be put to death. Houses are going to be robbed, obviously. Women are going to be getting ravished or raped. So this is why it's very important to not be found hand in hand with sinners, right, in these days. And that's why it's very important. All like you said, and then like I was just confirming because that's the exact answer. If you want to get away from temptation, the easiest way is to get away from the people, places, things, circumstances, areas where you can fall into temptation, right? So if you want to go ahead and give me Sirach 21 and 2.
Con,
Sirach 21 and 2. So to get out of your temptations, or the easiest way, right? And notice I put most of the time because a lot of times you're drawn away of your own lusts, like it says in James. But at the same time, if you're drawn away in your mind, say one that I've been dealing with, not me personally, but I've been seeing brothers and sisters come to me that they're dealing with a lot, is that weed spirit. It's a lot harder for you to fall into smoking weed if you're not around people that don't smoke weed, if you're not around the weed man, if you erased his number, if you don't have him on social media no more, right? That way when you fall, when you're in your mind, when you start giving into that or you start thinking about it, right? Instead of just real easily calling them up or going and hanging out and getting something, you can reach out to a brother or sister or get in the scriptures or start repeating a certain verse you have to yourself, start praying, etc. Right? It's gonna be a lot harder for you to fall into that. But again, removing yourself, setting yourself apart from that is gonna help you in many, many, many ways. And it's also gonna help you because the less that you're around people that do these things, the less that you are going to be in the spirit of wanting to do these things as well, right? Because it's like I've said many times as well, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are,
con,
right? Or like it says in Sirach, the 13th chapter, when it says, every man loves his neighbor and a man cleaves to his like, right? And then it goes on and says, "What fellowship has the wolf with the lamb, or the sinner with with the godly?" So separating yourself from these people, you're gonna stop thinking like them. You're gonna stop carrying on the traits and habits and mannerisms that they have as well. So go ahead, up.
this is Sirach chapter 21, verse 2. Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent, for if thou comest too near it, it will bite thee. The teeth thereof are as the teeth of a lion slaying the souls of men.
Con. So that's how we have to look at not only at sin, right, but also look at people, places, and things that cause us to be tempted. We have to see it as a snake, right? You're not gonna go straight up to that snake. You're not gonna try and play with the snake when you know it's poisonous, when you know its teeth can slay your soul. You're not even gonna want to go near that snake. You're gonna want to be set apart from it.
I think you just slayed a snake recently, didn't you, Art?
It was almost as tall as me, right? So you're not gonna. The majority of people, 99% of people, are gonna run if they see a snake that big. So that's exactly how we have to look at sin, and how we have to look at, again, people, places, environments, things that are going to cause us to be tempted, or have caused us to be tempted. and fall in the past. Because it's another thing that I always tell people, when it comes to like courting advice, or even when it comes to certain temptations and sins. I tell them, if you're gonna get a job, right? What are they gonna look at? They're gonna look at your track record. They're gonna look at where you've worked before. They're gonna even want to call people up to check your track record. So if somebody, a person, or even a place you're always at, if you have a track record of falling into sin or falling into temptation around these people, or if they have the track record of falling into temptation, then you need to stay away from them and get away as from the face of a serpent, right? Like it says in Sirach, the 21st chapter, right? So uh when it comes to being set apart, like I said, we could do a whole couple hours on how many times it says holy or set apart in the Bible, right? But the main thing is, and especially with how certain so-called teachers and people are that claim to be in the truth nowadays, a lot of them don't like to be set apart, right? Let's just put it that way. And as a matter of fact, if you want to get James 4:7, Baruch Kasha,
Con,
right? So a lot of people want to be halfway in the world, halfway in the truth, right? And that's not the spirit that we need to be in, because that only leads us into further into temptation, right? And as a matter of fact, if you want to start on verse 4, Baba Kasha, James 4:4.
con. This is James verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh.
So being a friend with the world makes you an enemy of the Most High, right? So anything worldly, and the perfect example that a lot of people are trying to defend right now at the moment is going clubbing, right? And I could pull 20, 30, 40 precepts on just that alone. But that is being a friend with the world. Everybody in the club is in the world, right? So being a friend, if you want to be a friend with anybody, it should be a friend of the Most High. So if he says
Con,
being right, so if you're gonna be a friend, you're gonna give up being a friend with the Most High to be in the club,
nah.
right? That shows who you serve, right? So go ahead and jump down to verse 7, Bob Kashaw.
Con, this is verse 7. Submit yourselves, therefore, to Yahweh. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
So submit yourself to Yahweh. And if you're reading it in context, part of submitting yourself to Yahweh is no longer being a friend of the world, right? That would be like just for example, if I'm barely gonna get married to her and she's got a bunch of dude friends, right? And she always wants to hang out with them and she always wants to go out and party and all this stuff. How is she gonna be mine? How is she gonna submit to me if she's still out here being a friend with worldly people, with these worldly dudes, right? Just as an example. So it's the same thing with the Most High. In order to submit yourself to Him, you can no longer be a friend of the world. It literally says, whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh. So I don't know about y'all, but that's the worst thing that you could be, is an enemy of the Most High, right? Barza Yah Judah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah. I hope all is well with you and your household. So Salak, if you could read 7 and 8.
Con, 7 and 8. Submit yourselves, therefore, to Yahweh. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw nigh to Yahweh, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double minded.
Khan. So it says, submit yourselves to Yahweh, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So many times resisting the devil just means resisting or staying away from people, environments, and things, again, that have caused you to be tempted or just caused you to go off from the scriptures in the past, right? Then it says, and draw near to Yahweh and he will draw near to you, right? So the closer you're trying to get to him, he's going to draw closer to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, purify your hearts, ye double-minded. So being in the world and being in the truth, so to speak, is double-minded. And this is why it says you have to purify your hearts, right? Purify your hearts. Because if you try to be, you can't, if you try to play both sides of the fence, obviously the Most High, like he says, he'll spit you out of his mouth, right? But even just being around people, sometimes you don't even have to be around people in order for them to get you to go off. Just talking to somebody that's wicked or gives you bad counsel can cause you to go off, right? If you want to give me Sirach 23, let me see. I believe it's 23 and 1.
Khan. And
Con,
Salaki, and Salaki, I know also. I forgot the book where it says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
James 1 and 8. He's unstable in all his ways. So being double-minded like that, it only leaks into other areas of life. When you're double-minded in one area of life, it's gonna go off into other areas of life as well. Right. So
Khan.
yeah. So Khan
Right,
is
23,
Khan 23 and 1.
23 and 1. Oh, Yahweh, Abba, and governor of my whole life, leave me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them.
So many times all it takes is for people to give you counsel that's not biblical and it causes you to fall. Right. And this is a beautiful prayer. It's all the way down to about 7 or 8. Right. This is a prayer. O Yahweh Abba, governor of all my life, leave me not to their counsels and let me not fall by them. Because, of course, in the end, the Most High is the author of our lives. He directs our steps. And that's something we have to pray for, right? It's like when you were here for the Passover, remember we kept going over what was it? Sirach 37 and 15, where it says, above all this, pray to the Most High that he will direct thy way in truth.
Khan.
Right? That's something we should all be praying for, is for the Most High to direct us in truth and not to let us fall by wicked people's counsel. Right? And it should be obvious once you've been in the truth for some time, it should be obvious when somebody's counsel is not correct or it's not going to be profitable. Because when you really sum it up, right, Romans 3 and 4, we have to let Yahweh be true and every man a liar. So and then it says, as it is written. So if somebody is giving you counsel and they can't back it up with as it is written in the scriptures, then we shouldn't be taking that counsel in the first place, right? But in the moment when people are emotional or going through certain situations, right? Certain things may sound good to you, but that doesn't mean that they're biblical and can be backed up with the scriptures, right? So if you want to read it one more time about Kishar.
Khan. O Yahweh, Abba, and governor of all my whole life, leave me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them.
So let us not fall by those counsels, because we have to understand that the Most High sees people that are striving to be righteous, that are striving to live according to the scriptures. He sees you as more excellent than people that are just being wicked. Now, that's not to let you to puff you up with pride or nothing like that, but we have to understand that the Most High sees us in that manner. If you could get Proverbs 12 and 26, as a matter of fact.
Khan.
So, but just like the Most High sees that we're striving to live righteous, we're striving to be set apart, we're striving to be the light set apart from the darkness. Um, Satan and all these evil spirits see it as well, right? So if they see it as well, they're definitely going to try to get us away or seduce us, as a scripture the brother's about to read. they are going to try to seduce us away from the word of the Most High.
This is Proverbs chapter 12, verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them.
The way of the wicked seduces him. You may be coming into the truth, and then the wicked offer you some money, right? You have to work every Sabbath, but you're gonna make X amount of money. That's seducing. You want to be set apart, but then, well, you know what? Uh, uh, Come in and hang out with this female wants to meet you. She's beautiful. She's this, that, and the other, right? It seduces you. So we have to be very, very careful to not fall into that seduction, because the way of the world can be very seductive to somebody who has a worldly mind. And that's why it said, or that's why we read, that if you're a friend with the world, you're an enemy of the Most High, right? We have to be very, very, very careful and vigilant to not fall into that. Because if you're not sober and vigilant, like the scriptures say to be, it can be a real easy thing to fall into that, or to desire to be a part of the world, right? When you see people are doing good, or good according to the world standards, of course, right? If you want to get Proverbs 24 and 1, Baba Kasha,
Uh, this
24 and 1.
is Proverbs chapter 24, verse 1. Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them.
So we can't fall into that seduction and desire even to be around these types of people, right? Because you may see, well, you know what? I'm not going to do what this person is doing, but I want to hang out with them because there's certain benefits that you can reap from just being around these types of people, right? And that's a slippery slope. That's something that is going to lead you farther and farther down that rabbit hole of wickedness, right? Um, Barzayah Judah, Sirach 16 and 1, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. Right. And if you look at it from the most high's perspective, right? He doesn't desire any unprofitable children, right? And he doesn't delight in ungodly sons. So us trying to be around those types of people, right? And like I mentioned earlier in Sirach, the 13th chapter, you basically become the people that you hang out with, right? So saying that you're gonna hang out with these types of children, unprofitable children, ungodly sons, right? It's only gonna lead you to be this right here. You want to read that out?
Con, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight.
And if you want to get Deuteronomy 23 and 1, Baba Kashaw,
Con,
23 and 1. So Khan, you become a false balance by saying you want to be in the truth, but then I'm not going to be set apart, right? But by saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to follow the Most High, I'm going to whatever, but then you're envious or being around people that the Most High hates, right? That he hates what they do, and they're living in total offense to your Father, right? But then you're going to be around them. That's a false balance, which is an abomination. You then therefore become an abomination to him just as well.
con. This is Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones, or hath his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh.
Salaki, I don't know why I had that as a in the 1611 it had it as a precept. Salakia. Let's go ahead and go back to Sirach, the 23rd chapter, real quick.
Con. So, Rob 23. And I actually got a precept for you too after that.
Go ahead, Ak, if you want to get that first.
Oh, okay. It's Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8 and 9. It says, Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is Yahweh? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain.
Khan. That's something we all have to keep in mind, no matter what happens, because the whole this whole thing is beautiful, because if you really think about it, it's saying three different things. Remove far from me vanity, which is actually going to go into what I'm gonna finish with in Sirach, the 23rd chapter. Remove far from me vanity, right? That's something that we should all be praying for. Remove far from me vanity. Vanity, one of the my favorite definition in the Hebrew for vain or vanity is breathly. Because if you think about it, we breathe and your breath is gone, right? It's here and then it's gone. It's something that's not going to last. Also, it's something that's uh it's worldly, right? You think in the kingdom they're up there just you know what I'm saying? There it's a worldly thing that is it vanishes right away. So remove far from me vanity, anything that is not going to help you make it to the kingdom, that is vanity. Right? Anything that's not going to help you follow the scriptures, vanity. And lies. Right? So another thing that we should be praying for the Most High to remove lies through discernment. Also praying for discernment is going to help you discern what is vanity and what is lies, right? And then give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. So you don't want to be poor, because like you said, then if you're poor, right, you may end up stealing or doing wickedness, selling drugs, whatever the case may be, in order to have the necessities of life, right? Or you're rich, and what happens when you get rich? Now you're too rich to pray. You're too rich to get down on your knees,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're too consumed with vain things to even have the time to study for an hour, 2, 3 hours a day. You sit down because now I know you as well, brother, and I'm sure a lot of other brothers or even sisters on here, that sometimes if you have time, you'll just, oh, you know what, I'm gonna read uh this chapter real quick, and then it leads to another one, and then it leads to you studying for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours,
Con.
right? So you're not gonna have. It's not that you don't have the time to do that if you have money and you're rich, but let's be honest. If you got enough money, if me and this brother right here had enough money to get on a yacht and take it to the Caribbeans, and then when we get there, we could eat wherever we want. We could go see whatever show we want. We could rent the nicest car. We could go, and then it's nighttime, and then we can go to the nicest club and get VIP, and then we can get whatever types of alcohol, women, drugs, whatever we want. And then we don't even want to sleep. And then when we do go to sleep and we wake up, we want to do it all over again because we got all this money, right? It's a lot harder to follow and seek after the Most High and His will when you have all of these worldly riches.
The word definitely. I mean, Yahweh Shai did say, it's gonna be easier for a camel to make it through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to make it into the kingdom.
Khan, exactly, exactly. And afterwards, he did say that with man this is impossible, but with the Most High it is possible. But that's just going to show you it's going to be very, 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 very small amount of people that actually have a good amount of money or a good amount of worldly riches and make it, right?
Con.
So remove far from me vanity and lies, and then don't give me poverty or riches, right? I just want to be enough, have enough that I need to live off of, right? Sister Lonnie, love, shalom, sis. Hope all is well with you. So it's like it says in Timothy, I believe it's 6:6. Uh, Godliness with contentment is great gain, right?
Con.
Being content with just being godly and just having enough that you need to live off of, right? That is enough. You should be content with your life because we're not striving for worldly riches, right? As the brother um posted right here if you want to read that out.
Con. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light.
Khan. So where your treasure is, your heart is going to be, right? So when you get a bunch of worldly treasures, a bunch of money, and if that's what you see as the real treasure, then well, that's where your heart's going to be at. Your mind is going to be set on those treasures at all times, and you're going to be using them to do wickedness the majority of the time, right? Which is why your eye has to be single on the kingdom, right? Your eye has to be single on that straight gate. Matthew 7, the 7th chapter. As I'm sure most of y'all have heard that song that me and the brother Jomar did, right? Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat, right? So that straight path, you have to keep your eyes single on it. It's a narrow path that leads to life, and there's very few people that are going to be able to find that path and stay on that path, right? Because
Con.
I know a lot of brothers and sisters over the years, 5, 6 years of knowing of the truth, that have seen the path, believe the path, know what it takes to stay on the path, but they don't stay on that path, right? You want to
Con.
read that verse out?
No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon.
Khan. So you cannot serve Yahweh. And when you look into the Greek on that word mammon, it means riches or money, right? But in reality, it's an idol, right? It specifically means money, but we know that money is not evil in itself. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil, right? Because even in Proverbs, it says that money can be a defense, right? Money's a defense, and knowledge is a defense, but only knowledge and wisdom is going to lead you to salvation. So you can't idolize money or fall into the love of money or do things against the Most High for money, because then you're serving money at that point, right? um Salaki, so you want to read that one out, Sure.
Con. Not that I speak in respect of one, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
Khan. So if you're in a lower state, if you're in a higher state, you're feeling good. No matter what a state you're in, you have to learn to be content, because there's seasons for everything, right? And we all go through certain seasons for certain purposes. And sometimes you don't even know what the purpose is until the season is over, right? It's over, and then the Most High puts a spirit on you to know exactly why you went through that and the lesson that you were supposed to get out of it, right? So you have to learn to be content and not want all these other things when you're in a different estate, so to speak. And that's why Psalm 23:1, where it says, Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. That's the spirit, that one verse, right? If you can follow that one verse, you will make it into the kingdom of heaven. Psalm 23:1. If you can follow that, because it says, Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. What does the shepherd do? It leads his sheep. So if you're content with Yahweh guiding your whole life, and you actually follow after him as the shepherd, and you don't want anything else, you'll make it to the kingdom because you're going to follow his word, right?
Con. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
Con. So Paul is saying right here that he knows no matter what situation he is in, right? However he's living, he learned how to be content with whatever he had, right? There's no, he knows how to live with nothing or almost nothing, right? Or he knows how to live with everything that he had, with everything that he needs, or salakil, with everything, whether he has a full stomach or whether he has an empty stomach, whether he has full pockets or whether he has empty pockets, right? Whether he has a lot or whether he has a little, he knows how to deal with it. And that's like me and you were talking about before you left, and you were like, you know what? No, I'm gonna uh not to put any of your business out there or nothing like that, but you said, you know what? Nah, doing this keeps me humble. I'm gonna keep doing this. And I was like, damn, I
Con,
could definitely respect that because I know
con,
exactly the spirit you're saying that out of, right?
con.
So
And
no
it's
matter
work.
what
It's work too.
con it is, right? I'm sure it is because I've been in the exact same situation. So I knew I was like, you know what? I definitely respect that because I've been in the exact same situation, right? So learning how to be in different states, learning how to be uh, hungry, how to be full, and how to be content with either one, and still being able to praise the Most High. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and that's something we all have to learn, right? So, if you want to go back to, or actually, let's go to Matthew. What is it? 10 and verse 34. Baba Kasha.
Con. This is Matthew 10 and verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Khan. So Yahushai said that he's not coming to send peace on the earth, right? And we know that he is the word, John the first chapter. So this word does not bring peace amongst people, right? In the sense of if one person believes the word and truly preaches the word and another person doesn't believe the word, they're not gonna be at peace with one person preaching a false doctrine and then you preaching the real doctrine, the word, right? Go ahead.
Con. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
So the families are gonna be split up, and for years I've been seeing this, and I know from firsthand experience as well. Same thing happened with me. Same thing happened with my rib. Same thing happened with a brother that I was really, really close to when he was still in the truth, and a few sisters that have been in the truth. And this happens because when you come into the truth, the first person or the first people you want to tell is your family because they're the closest to you, right? And we're over here. I don't know about you or about anybody else, but you have let's just put it this way, you have high hopes that they're going to be receptive of the truth because we were receptive of the truth,
Con.
right? So you go in kind of green, and this is speaking of my personal experience, right? It's like you go in thinking, well, or subconsciously thinking, man, I accepted this truth, this is a beautiful thing, this is, man, I'm breaking free from the lies. You go tell your family and then they think you're crazy. that's
Man,
that's that's a wake-up
crazy
call,
ain't the
right?
word, man. Crazy is not the word.
Con. It's something that you don't really expect, especially when you're new or newer to the truth. And like I said, because I went through the exact same thing. My rib was there one time when I went in and tried to preach the word to my mom, and she kicked us out of her house. Right.
Mm, mm.
So this definitely is going to set at variance you against your father, your mother, mother against daughter, daughter-in-law, against your friend for your whole from your whole life, even households, brothers and sisters that are married or dating, so-called dating, courting, etc. It is going to set them against each other because again, this word does not bring peace. Just like when Yahushua comes back, he's coming back with the sword, right? This word is a sword and it cuts into people's spirits and that makes them be set at variance against you. So go ahead.
And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
And your foes are those of your own household. right? Those that you live with, those that are your own blood. Go ahead.
He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
So this is the Most High's word, obviously, right? And if you are not more willing to follow the Most High than everybody else, or if you're not willing to be set apart from the world, because remember, a friend of the world is an enemy of the Most High, then you are not worthy of Him, and you're not worthy of the sacrifice in His Son that was made. Right? Go ahead.
And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me.
So your cross for many, many people, for everybody in this truth at one point or another, if you have family or friends, right, in the world before you come into the truth, part of carrying your cross, a huge part of carrying your cross and following after Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is to lose and be set apart from the majority of those people that are living in wickedness. And I say the majority of them because there is certain brothers and sisters, even really recently, that have came into the truth, and they've helped or been used by the Most High to bring others from their families into the truth, which is a beautiful thing, right? But
Con.
go ahead and keep going.
He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it.
So if you want to find eternal life, right? If you want to find eternal life, you have to lose your worldly life, right? And the answer to losing your worldly life is the same answer to how to get out of most of your temptations. It's the same answer to how to be accepted or received by the Most High, like we read in Second Corinthians, right? It's to be set apart from wickedness. You lose because I could say from example as well, everything I was doing before I came into the truth was wicked, whether I realized it or not. Some of the stuff I was doing I knew was wrong, right? But some of it I thought was okay, or good even, and it
Con,
was actually wicked,
con,
right? And that's every different aspect of life, like from what you wear, right? Whether it be mixed clothes or whether it be women wearing lascivious things, whether it be the way you speak, we would say things that were completely against the Most High and against the scriptures, and we didn't even know it, right? The places we would going into a Christian church, and you thought that you were doing the right thing, but they were teaching you, they were feeding you a whole bunch of lies, and then you're repeating them to people, right? Putting other people's souls at jeopardy as well,
con,
right? So all of these things, like you may not even realize you were doing wrong. But then me personally, smoking weed every day, all day, stealing, as I've said many times before I came into the truth, I was a career thief, I would call, right? Breaking into cars, breaking into houses, burglary of habitations. If me and my rib one time counted, and I can say this now, without any fear of anything because I only fear the Most High, but also because the statute of limitations is up, right? Um, Me and my rib counted one time how many houses I had gone into, like to rob, and I lost count at like 30 some 40. You
My
know what I
goodness.
mean? So it was all manners of wickedness. And the only way that you can find eternal life is by losing your old life, right? Forsaking your old life. And anybody or anything or any place that uh, comes with that, anything in that general territory, right? Um, if you want to go to chapter 12 real quick,
Con,
and 12 and Salaki, let me see. Or you know what? Actually, I had sent you this verse a little while ago. If you want to keep going on 10 and 40, Baba Kasha.
con. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me.
So when you start following the truth, right, and people are receptive of the truth, right, they're also receiving Yahweh, they're receiving the word. And they're also receiving the Most High who sent the word. Go ahead.
He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward.
Go ahead.
And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward.
Khan. So he that receives a prophet in the name of a prophet receives a prophet's reward. When I was first coming into the truth, or first learning of the truth, a brother had showed me this, and it was because I had helped him out with something. And at that point in time, he was way more knowledgeable than me. He had been in the truth way longer, etc. Right? And he showed me this, and he was like, "Hey, just by receiving someone who speaks for the Most High, like by receiving them, by helping them out, by giving them a cup of water to drink, so to speak, you receive the same reward as a prophet." Right? So it's like the parable of the penny. We're all going for the same penny, and no matter how long you've been in the truth, right? It doesn't matter as long as you're following Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai sincerely in humility. And so I just wanted to bring that out real quick for this brother, for the brother Ayal. So the water for coming on here, I appreciate it.
Con,
Con, and
I
we'll
am the
go
boy.
con the water, the water. So if you want to go ahead and go, we'll finish with But you know what? We'll get one more scripture, Matthew 19:29, and then we'll finish with that prayer in Sirach, the 23rd chapter.
Con. This is Matthew chapter 19, verse 29. And every one that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive a hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
So anyone who forsakes any of these things, houses, brother, sister, father, mother, wife, children, lands, for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, is going to receive a hundredfold. You're going to get paid back 100 times 100 and receive or inherit everlasting life. Because again, like I said many times, that most people do not have the love for the Most High to do this. And that's what it comes down to. You don't have the love or the fear of the Most High to do this, to forsake wicked houses, wicked family, wicked so-called friends, wicked places for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
People say they got fear, but they don't know what having real fear means. It's just like
Khan,
when you was a little kid, you was scared your kid, you know what I'm saying, your parents was gonna whoop you if you did something wrong. That's how you should feel with the Most High.
Khan, exactly. So if you really feared your parents back then, you're gonna stop doing what they said to do because you don't want to get whooped again, right?
Con. At
So
least
it's
I
this
at least I know I would.
same here. I wasn't afraid. So my dad left when I was in like kinder, first grade, something like that. But when we moved from San Antonio to the Valley, and I was staying with my grandma, man, we always knew we had to be on point with her because she had a heavy hand. She had a heavy hand. Most High hopefully have mercy on her. She passed away like last year, but man, she would wait when we were real little. If we did something real bad, she would wait for us to get out the shower. She would wait for us to be wet, and she would spank us.
Oh, my mom caught me like that one time when I was a kid. It was the worst.
Con.
But
So
there's no chastisement nor beat downs like the Most High's beat down. Like it says, what is it, Hebrews, or he said it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the Most High.
Hebrews 10:31, I believe.
Uh,
And that's something that when it talks about the fear of the Most High, right? Psalm 111 and 10. That's the first verse that me and my rib, one of the very first verses we ever memorized. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. So we have to understand that when you lose the fear of the Most High, you all the wisdom that you possess or think you possess is going out the window with it, because that's the beginning of wisdom, right? That's like if you learn how to let's say you've been boxing for years and years, you got all this wisdom, but the first thing they teach you in boxing is to keep your hands up, right? So you forget to keep your hands up. It doesn't matter all these combos and all this stuff that you have. That's not going to do you any good. So it's the same thing with the fear of the Most High, right? If you forget to fear the Most High, you forget that it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the Most High. Well, all you have to look forward to then is that whooping.
Mm, mm,
Right?
mm, mm.
All you have to look forward to, in Hebrews the 10th chapter 2, it says you have a certain fearful looking for of judgment, right? That's all you have to look forward to, because you don't really fear the Most High. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, a lot of people say they fear the Most High, but in Sirach, the very first chapter, it says that the fear of Yahweh drives away sins, right? So
Um,
if you're not driving away your sins, and again, temptation leads to sins, right? The answer out of most of your temptations is to be set apart. Then how do you fear the Most High if you're not even doing that, right?
I think Sirach the second chapter says it too. It says in 15 to 16, it says, "They that fear Yahweh will not disobey His word, and they that love Him will keep His ways. They that fear Yahweh will seek that which is well pleasing unto Him, and they that love Him shall be filled with the law."
Calm. So fearing, you have the worldly sense of fear, just like you have the worldly sense of love, which is just I love God and blah blah blah. But if you really love him, it says in the law you keep his commandments. It says in the New Testament you keep his commandments. Then it's if you really fear him, you're gonna stop doing what he doesn't approve of, right? And you're going to, if you really fear him, you're gonna start doing what is pleasing to him, like you said,
Uh,
right? So going back to Matthew 19 and 29, everyone that forsakes all of these things, right? Not only is it going to help you not be in the midst of temptation, but it's also going to lead you to everlasting life. And it's also going to help you to be received by the Most High, because, like it said in Second Corinthians, the 6th chapter, that you have to be set apart from all of this in order to be received by the Most High, right? It says you can't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. You can't have fellowship with unrighteousness. You can't, if you're trying to walk in the light, you can't have communion with darkness. If your body's a temple of the Most High, then how are you going to be with idols, right? Or like the brother posted up earlier, you can't, you got to choose who you're going to serve, right? You can't serve two masters, right? And that could be mammon, that could be money, or that could be people, because mammon's really an idol. It's a false god, and God means basically power in the Hebrew. So people get power, people or certain things get power over you, and that in turn becomes your God, right? So we have to be
choose you this day who you will serve.
calm, exactly, and that's something that I've been telling everybody I talk to lately. When it says choose ye this day, or choose you this day who you will serve, that you can apply that to every single aspect of life, because we don't know when the Most High is just like, that's the end of your grace period right there. That was enough, right?
Kind.
You don't know, because if you're really think about it, if pride is the beginning of all sin, and if pride is hateful before the Most High and before man, it is a prideful thing for you to be like, you know what, I'll get right with him tomorrow. He's gonna give me enough grace to last till tomorrow,
Lie.
right? Or next week, I know next Sabbath I'm gonna start doing it right.
Mm.
Right? That's you being prideful and making the assumption that the Most High is giving you that much grace, right? Or the same thing with being set apart. The Most High could just, oh, okay, so somebody told you you should be set apart, and you think you have another day or a week or a month or a year. Okay, let me send a evil spirit to get on you right now, since you're being prideful.
Mm, mm, mm,
Right.
mm.
So let's go ahead and finish in Sirach, um, chapter 23. We'll read that little prayer.
Con, verse 1 through
Uh,
7.
Khan, if you want to go 1 and 2 and then pause, Baba Kishar.
Con. It says Sirach chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. O Yahweh, Abba, and governor of all my whole life, leave me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them. Who will set scourges over my thoughts, and the discipline of wisdom over my heart? That they spare me not for my ignorances, and it pass not by my sins.
Khan. So first thing he prays for, right, is in verse 1, not to be left in wicked people's counsels and not to fall by that, right? Because again, like we said earlier, you can fall just by going off of someone wicked's counsel. It's not according to the word. And that's like I was just saying, they become your God at that point. If you know scriptures that say do this, and someone gives you counsel and it goes against that, and you follow them, well, that's your God. That person at that point in time has power over you, and you're gonna believe them over the Most High. So then in verse 2 it says, "Who will set scourges over my thoughts?" Right? A scourge or a whip or a punishment or represents keeping in line your thoughts, right? And that's something that probably is more difficult to do than anything else the further you come into the truth, right? That's you'll see that, okay, I could stop eating pork, I could start keeping Sabbath, I could get fringes, like all this stuff. But the way that Satan really starts attacking you later is through your thoughts, which me and you have talked about as well, right?
Extol not thyself in thine own counsel, take not thine own
Mm.
advice, lest thou eat thine own leaves and leave thyself dry.
Khan, exactly. So that's what a lot of people do though. They're in their own counsel, in their own mind, and that just dries them up, right? That withers them up, like it says in Psalm the first chapter, where we the Most High compares us to trees all the time. When you're going through your own counsel and you're trying to figure out things, you're just in your head all the time. You're just withering yourself up. You're eating your own leaves, right? You're killing yourself literally because you're not
Mm-hmm.
trusting in the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
It would be far more profitable for you to be in the scriptures for an hour than to be in your head thinking about all these possible scenarios and all. I could have done this different, and well, if this happens, then that's not trusting in the Most High, right? So it
Con,
says, "Who will set scourges over my thoughts? Who's going to correct my thoughts, and the discipline of wisdom over my heart? Who is going to put discipline and wisdom over your heart, my heart, this brother's heart?" And when something is over something, right, it means it's in control of something. Like how you have the head of the household, me, then you have my rib under me, then you have our children under her. I am over the household, right? And then you have Yahweh Shai and Yahweh, of course. But when it says, who will set discipline of wisdom over mine heart. That means discipline and wisdom is going to rule your heart, right? It's not going to be your own thoughts anymore. It says that they spare me not for mine ignorances, and it passed not by my sins. Because if the Most High does not correct your thoughts, if the Most High doesn't give you the spirit of discipline and wisdom to rule or to reign over your mind, then guess what? Your ignorances, right? Which we have many ignorances when we're not going by the word. It is going to lead you into sin. That's all it's going to lead you into. Go ahead.
least mine ignorances increase, and my sins abound to my destruction, and I fall before my adversaries, and my enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy.
Man, and that's something I always point out to people as well, right? Your adversaries, rejoice over you going off. Right? It says, least mine ignorance is increased. If the Most High doesn't give you the spirit of discipline and wisdom, your ignorances are just going to increase. And you can even think you're in the truth, but now you're even more ignorant because you think you're living by the truth, but you're not. Right? You're just
Mm-hmm.
going off your own vain opinion. You're not following after Yahweh Shai, you're following after man. And now you're even more ignorant. And my
There's a way
sins.
to man which seems like it. So like it.
Go ahead, go
There's
ahead.
a there's a way to man which seemeth right, but leads to death. I think that's a Proverbs.
Khan. That is the definition of what the majority of people, especially Christians, right, fall into. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. You think you're doing good. It seems like the right way to you, so you follow it. But at the end of that, it just leads to death. And spiritual death first and foremost. But then later on, of course, it's gonna lead you to your physical death if you don't repent of that. Of thinking that the way that you're following is right. If it's not the word, if it's not according to the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, it is not the right way, and it's going to lead you to your death. Right. So let me finish this verse and then we'll read what the brother just brought out. It says Salakia, least my ignorances, verse 3, Sirach 23 and 3. Least my ignorances increase and my sins abound to my destruction. Right? So just following a counsel that's not from the Most High, just not having the spirit of discipline over your heart, meaning ruling your heart, it is going to lead to more ignorances. It's going to lead to more sins. It's going to lead to your destruction. And you're going to fall before your adversaries and your enemies rejoice over you, whose hope is far from thy mercy. So those people that are not in the truth, they would love to see you fall away from the truth, right? The evil spirits that are on them would love to see you fall away from the truth, right? And this is why I remember, what probably going on 2 years now, there was a brother that was in the truth with me, or that was striving to follow the Most High, and he got invited to a party, right? And he ended up, long story short, he got invited to a party. The person that invited him knew he didn't celebrate birthdays, holidays, etc. He went, and that person was so happy that he went. He was rejoicing over that, because in their mind, in spiritually, when you look at it, that enemy, those evil spirits were like, yes, got him, right? Or like that meme, got him, right? That's exactly how they see it. And we have to see it like that. We have to see it as a spiritual battle. We have to see it like Ephesians, the 6th chapter. It really is a spiritual battle, right? But
Mm.
you wanna go ahead and read that out?
Ooh, this is the first verse that I actually memorized when I really got into the word.
All praise.
Uh, man, trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path.
Khan. So just like I said about Psalm 23 and 1, if you can follow this right here, you will make it into the kingdom. Right? You will make it into the kingdom if you trust in Yahweh with all your heart. And you don't lean on your own understanding. Right? If you acknowledge him by seeking his will, which is written right here in the word, then he's going to show you which path you're supposed to take. He's going to direct your path. And that's not going to be, oh yeah, I saw a Jesus came to me, and I was sitting on my bed, and he told me it was okay to eat the pepperoni pizza,
Not Jesus.
right? That it's not like that. The word is this is the Most High's word. Now, yes, of course, he can give us dreams, he can give us signs, he can let us see wonders and miracles and things like that. But remember, Yahushua said that a wicked generation seeks for a sign. We don't have to, we shouldn't have to see a sign in order to follow the Most High. Because like I've said many times as well, it is already the biggest sign that you have been awakened to the truth when the
Mm.
majority of the world is asleep.
Fine, bring it out.
Right? If like think about it. You, I always tell people like, look, how many people do you know that have been awakened to the truth, that know they're supposed to follow the Most High, that know the Bible is the word of the Most High, that know they're an Israelite, etc. It's never more than a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
So just that alone is the biggest sign that you need to trust in Yahweh with all your heart. And don't lean on your own understanding. Don't lean on what you were thinking about for 2-3 hours. Don't think about all the ways you can get yourself out of whatever situation you're in. Whatever the word says to do, if you really want to lean on the Most High and trust in him with all your heart, that's what you got to do. Whatever he says to do, that's how he directs your path. That's how you acknowledge him, right? You pray to him, and then you seek and search his word out for the answers, right? Tazadak 144, Shalom, Sister Nakama. I hope all is well with you, right? Um, yeah, if you want to go ahead and read that verse out.
This is prophesied right here. Not everyone that saith unto me, Yahweh, Yahweh, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Mm.
Khan. So that's actually talking about Yahushua, right? And do you know how many people are gonna call on him?
Too many, everybody.
Right? In that day, everybody's gonna be calling on him. But guess and what's he gonna say? Did you do the will of my Father? Well, I did what I thought. I did Proverbs 14 and 12. There was a way it seemed right to me, but the end there, and then he's gonna say, but the end thereof are the ways of death, right?
Khan.
So Khan, the brother Barzayah just said in
Khan.
vain. Everyone's gonna do it. They're gonna call on Yahweh and Yahweh Shai in vain, right? I remember not too long ago when me and a brother went out and we were preaching, and there was somebody that knew the name Yahweh, but they were still in the Christian church. So imagine those people, those type of people in that
Mm-hmm.
day. And oh, yeah, they're even going to use his name. They're not going to say God no more. They may be praying, oh, God, please, blah, blah, blah. In that day, they're going to, oh, yeah, the Most High is going to put the spirit on them to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be, oh, Yahweh, or maybe even, oh, Yahweh Shai. And he's going to say, well, depart from me, all you, because you worked iniquity.
Salaki, I remember in Proverbs, I believe the first chapter, if I'm not mistaken, it also says that they shall seek me early and they shall not find me. I know you said recently at the Passover when I was down there with you, you were saying there is a such thing as a early that's too late.
Khan, exactly. And that early is going to be right when all hell breaks loose. Right? Because when you read that chapter, and that's why, man, if you want to read something, I've posted that more than or as much as I posted any verses, right? Proverbs, I believe I posted that today actually. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22, all the way on down.
Kind,
Right? That's a scary. If that doesn't put the fear of the Most High in you, then I don't know what would, right?
man.
If he says he'll laugh at your calamity, he's gonna mock when your own fears come upon you,
Mm,
right? When distress and anguish and all these bad things, destruction comes upon you, then you're gonna call on him, and he's not gonna answer you, and he's gonna laugh at you, right? That's
It's a
the
fearful
early. That's
thing.
the early,
It's a fearful
right?
thing.
Con. That's the early that is too late, because as soon as it starts happening, that's when you're gonna want to do it, right? It's like I remember I got I got thrown in jail in my previous life when I was a teenager, and as soon as I was in there, I was like, damn! I started praying. Right? That's when that's the early that's too late, right?
Mm-hmm.
Praying. Have you ever gone through something like I remember I was talking to a brother years ago, And I was like, man, I remember I got locked up or whatever, and I started praying, and I was praying like praying for how would I say it? Like if it wasn't even happening, like if it was a dream or something. You know what I mean?
Come on, let me wake up, please, Papa
Right?
Kasha.
Exactly. It's that's how many people I guarantee you are gonna be in those days when all hell breaks loose.
A lot of them gonna have their hearts fail, like how Yahweh Shai said. A lot of men's hearts gonna fail them, and it says the men's hearts
Um,
gonna fail. So we know what's gonna happen to the women.
that's a good point. And imagine it's gonna be for some people it's gonna be literal too, like Nabal,
Kind,
right? The Most High made him have a stroke. That's gonna happen to a lot of. That's gonna be the easy way out for some people,
mm-hmm.
right? Let me see. There's a few comments. Khan, all praise to the Most High. Khan, King of Terrors.
That's the
He is the
one.
King of Terrors, and that's what people don't realize. That's what people do not realize, right? When I was incarcerated, everybody came to my bunk bed for a Bible verse before they went. Khan, that's all praises,
Before they went to the judge.
right? Okay, to the judge, Khan. Damn. I mean, that's because your judgment's already. Let's put it this way: when you're going to the judge, you already know your judgment is just waiting for you, right? So that's that early. That's too late. That is that early. That is too. That's a perfect example right there. So if you want to go back to Sirach, the 23rd chapter,
Kind,
and I think we're on verse 4.
kind says, "O Adawan, Abba, and Yahweh of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind."
So it's another thing to pray for, right? To not let the Most High give you a proud look. And like I said many times before, a lot of the earlier videos that me and certain brothers would go out that I had on my YouTube, that's why I took them down. Because later on through discernment, I could see like, damn, I had a very proud look in this when we were preaching at this time. Or man, look at this brother. He had a very proud look. Right. And you could just go on YouTube and Google Israelite street teaching or something like that. And if you have eyes to see, you could see people with proud looks, right? I remember there's a brother, Nabala, that he had said a few years back, and ever since then, that's when I started really looking at it a different way. He was like, "Yeah, anytime you see brothers, um, preaching and they're giving someone the word and they're laughing at them because they don't know the word or they don't understand it, that's being proud right there." Because
Mm-hmm.
we were all in that position at one time or another. So how are you gonna laugh at another brother when you're trying to teach him the word and he doesn't know it or he doesn't get it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
ever since then, I looked at it from a different perspective, right? I was like, man, that at certain points that was me, or certain points that was brothers I was looking up to, or brothers that I was affiliated with, etc. Right? So it says, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind. Right. And if you have a 1611 right there on haughty, it says a giant like. Your head gets so big because you know all these precepts or because you've been in the truth for X amount of time. Right. It's saying to turn your servant away from this type of mind. Right. Go ahead.
Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscences, and thou shalt hold up that is desirous always to serve thee.
So this is another very important one. Turn away from me vain hopes, like you brought out earlier in Proverbs, the 30th chapter, right? Turn away from me vain hopes. A lot of people hope for vain things. They're hoping and hoping and hoping in vain things. I could say for me, right, when it came to fighting MMA, training 12, 13 years for MMA and hoping that I could make it big in MMA And the Most High just kept showing me. He kept showing me, look, this one's canceled. That was his way of being like, no, you shouldn't do it. That's a vain thing. And then it was like, oh, this guy got hurt last minute that you were gonna fight. That's his way of showing me. And over and over and over, sign after sign after sign, right? And I was still hoping in this vain thing, right? I know many brothers and sisters just hoping in somebody wicked, right? I want to be with this person, but the Most High showed them over and over and over that they're wicked, and they're just putting their whole life on hold in hopes of that wickedness, right? So we have to be very vigilant and use discernment to not hope in vain things, right? Which is why it says, turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence. So concupiscence is a strong desire or a lust, right? And it can be a sexual desire, of course, but you can lust for other things as well, whether it be money, you can lust for power, you can lust for fame, right? So he's asking for the Most High to turn away from him concupiscence. And thou shalt hold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. So instead of desiring vain things, vain people, vain situations, instead of lusting after things, you should be more desirous to to serve and follow the Most High, which is by following His word, right? Go ahead, Ak.
Con. Let not the greediness of the belly, nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an impudent mind.
Khan. So we'll finish with this one. It says, let not the greediness of the belly nor the lust of the flesh take hold of me. And like I said before, you can lust obviously sexually, which is a big one, especially for men in this hypersexualized society. But you can also lust after all these other things. And we have to pray that the Most High doesn't let us be given up to that, right? And that we can eat upon these things. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me. Just like when you like you go to a buffet, right? You can't eat everything, but you want this and that, and you get real greedy, right? And I remember a brother years ago did a lesson. I think it was with GMS that did a lesson, and it was just on gluttony on when it comes to eating, right? And it was the whole thing was just based around how just the way that we're raised to eat, it feeds into, no pun intended, feeds into uh gluttony, right? Because like you have buffets everywhere and you don't want to stop eating. You're like, man, I got to get my money's worth, and then some, right?
Con.
And that leads into other areas of life. That's why Malcolm X said, or Malcolm X and a lot of different Muslims or people of the Nation of Islam would say, when you learn how to control what goes in your mouth as far as eating, then everything else becomes a lot easier, because that's the most one of the most natural, or not natural, but the most beastly cravings or lusts. I have a horse, right? When it's hungry, it's hungry. When we're hungry. You know what I mean? You want to eat something. You go looking in the fridge, even though you go look in the fridge 5 times, even though you know you don't have anything in the fridge,
Con.
right? The ox said, trying to burp some room free. Con. Right? You're trying to make some space so you can go back and get a few more dollars worth, right?
Oh man, you be sick when you go home.
Exactly. And that's why, like, even how we eat goes back to the scriptures. It says to eat as much as sufficient for you, right? It says
Con.
to eat in moderation. It says when you eat
Mhm.
too many meats, it leads to colic. That it says that in Sirach. There's many scriptures on that as well,
Con.
right? So just learning how to control your appetite, and that's why it says, let not the greediness of the belly, right? So of course that could mean don't be gluttonous, don't eat too much, things like that. But when you apply it all across the board, right? It's really talking about any area of life. You can lust for any type of thing and want too much of any type of thing. And like it says, like they say in the world, too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? You take too many vitamins, it'll kill you. So, and give not over me thy servant into an impotent mind, right? So there's many different definitions of impotent, but the one that I like the best is when you're not showing due respect, right? There's many people that just don't give the Most High that due amount of respect that he deserves, right? So that's one of the man. That is not detrimental. That is deadly to you, right? When you don't
Mm-hmm.
respect the Most High, when your mind is you respect people over the Most High, which we kind of touched on, me and the brother Azariah in the last lesson we did. When you respect man over the Most High, you are disrespecting the Most High on a different level,
Man,
right? You're literally breaking the first commandment, right? I am Yahweh thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. You shall have no other gods before me, right? Psalm 82 and 6 says, "Ye are gods," right? And again in the Hebrew, God basically means power. So a lot of people do see certain elders and camp leaders and teachers, and even in the world in Christianity, pastors and ministers, that is their God, right? They've been given over to an impotent mind, meaning they're not showing the due respect for the Most High, and they now serve another God and give respect that is not due to these other men that make doctrines of men, and they give them to them as commandments, right? As if the Most High said to do this, and then okay, you're my God, I'll do it, right? So anytime it's like this brother right here, y'all, when he came for Passover, it was real cool to see in his Bible. How many things did you have, Ak? Probably like 8 to 10 things to pray for.
man, oh yeah, at the very beginning of it, I got about like probably like 10 plus different things I wrote down to be specific about what I pray for. Yeah,
Khan, exactly. So doing that, man, that's definitely I would recommend that to some of y'all as well if you want to do that. Write down specific things to pray for, right? So you have at least an outline of what you want to pray for. And then also there's many different prayers all throughout the scriptures that if you want to just pray that, but pray not just reading it, right? You're praying it with intent, and you're meditating on it while you pray for it, right? Like this right here. This is a beautiful one, 1 through about 6, or you can even go down to about 8. O Yahweh, Father and Governor of all my whole life, leave me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them. Who will set scourges over my thoughts, and the discipline of wisdom over mine heart, that they spare me not for my ignorances, and it pass not by my sins, lest mine ignorances increase and my sins abound to my destruction, and I fall before my adversaries, and mine enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. O Yahweh, Abba, and God of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind. Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence, and thou shalt hold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an impotent mind. That just right there, that man, praying that on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, when you're really in that spirit and you're really striving for that and asking the Most High for that, is going to help you in all areas of life, all different areas of life, right?
con,
And that really goes with, the title is the answer out of most of your temptations and how to be accepted or received, how it said in 2 Corinthians 6, by the Most High. That very first verse, right? That first verse, it says, lead me not to their counsels and let me not fall by them. If you're not getting counsel from the wicked, you're not going to fall with the wicked, right? If you're getting counsel, if you're leaning on the Most High, right, and not leaning on your own understanding, trusting in Yahweh with all your heart, like it said in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter,
Mm.
right? If your eye is single on the scriptures, you're going to be set apart, right? You're not going to want to be a part of the world or a friend with the world, like we read earlier. Let me see.
People really got to meditate on what Proverbs 3 verse 5 through 7 really means. Like that's
Khan,
when I say that was the first one I really memorized when I first came into this group. It was strictly because that was the first thing I really applied, and I really understood what it meant when you really get put to the test.
Khan, because that's when you really know that you trust in Yahweh when you're put to the test, right? And that's why I love, man. Not that I love it in a worldly way, but I was gonna say I love martial arts in the sense that almost every single aspect of martial arts you can compare it to the truth, right? So Proverbs 3 and 5, it says, trust in Yahweh with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, right? So if you apply that to martial arts, to jujitsu, for example, which is basically grappling, submission wrestling, whatever you want to call it. If you trust in what you have learned, right? When you're in a certain situation, when you're under pressure, so to speak, right? And you don't lean on your own understanding or your own what you want to do. If someone's on top of you and you can't get off, you just want to push them. You want to muscle out of it. You know what I'm saying? But if you trust in the technique that you learned, you're going to do the steps that you need to do, and eventually you're going to get out of it because you use technique to get out of it. If you look at that spiritually, when you get in a bind, when the Most High is putting it or allowing Satan to put it to you, so to speak, that's the point where you prove that you trust in Yahweh with all your heart, because you're like, okay, this precept I know says do this, so I'm going to do this, even though, man, I want to do something else, but you know what, the precepts say this. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
lean on my own understanding,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like you said, man, you have to really understand that, and you have to understand it to apply it, because a lot of people say they trust in the Most High, but if you really trust in the Most High, then you would be doing what he says to do and trust that he's going to bring you out of whatever you're in, right?
By the skin of your teeth.
Khan, right? And if the righteous are going to make it by the skin of their teeth, where is the sinner and the godly going to appear, right? Hey, Shalom, the brother Adonai, he said, without fear of Yahweh, you can kiss salvation goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Calm. You can kiss, exactly. That's what we're saying. That if the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, shoot, if you lose that beginning, that base, that's it. You have nothing left. All right. You want to read that out?
It's a good one. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. But I will maintain my own ways before him. He also shall be my salvation, for a hypocrite shall not come before him.
Khan. Though he slay me, and like I said many times before, when the Most High slays you, a lot of times it's just to lead you down the righteous path down the line, right? A lot of times it's because that's what you need at the moment. Some people it's just because, hey, you know what? I'm gonna punish you, and then you're gonna fall out the truth, and then that's it, right? But a lot of times for the people that he has chosen, it's because he loves you, right? He chastises and punishes who he loves. He corrects who he loves, like a father towards his son. So you have to trust in that punishment and take that punishment and know that you are worthy of that punishment, because everything the Most High does is righteous, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you really believe in him and you trust in him, then you got to trust that his slaying, his scourges, His punishments are just. Whatever you're going through right now is because you deserve it in one way or another, right? We all deserve to be destroyed. We all deserve all of our righteousnesses as filthy rags. So we have to know that in our heart and just accept and trust in him no matter what he's going to do and do to us and whatever he's going to let us go through. And we have to maintain our ways according to his word to the best of our ability, right? Because if we don't, it's like it says there, a hypocrite shall not come before him. A hypocrite is not going to come before the Most High. Anybody who doesn't fear the Most High will not make it into the kingdom of heaven, right? Let me see. Let me go up on the comments real quick. A lot of people don't fear the wisdom of Yahweh, which is the beginning of wisdom. He is a fearful and terrible God. Calm. Fasting,
Mm-hmm.
fasting and prayer is a beautiful thing. Calm, most definitely. Most definitely. And you know what? Fasting will help you in more ways than one. It's going to help out your health. It's going to help out you. It's going to help you out spiritually. And it's going to help to prepare you for Jacob's trouble. Because even if you, let's say you're growing food like me and my household are starting to, even if you got stuff stored up, you may have to be a pilgrim on the earth, right? The Most High may just be like, you know what, your test is going to be you leave everything behind and you go be a pilgrim on the earth, and let's see if you
Con,
trust me. Right?
I think that's gonna be majority of people though, like that. Honestly.
Khan. And that's why it's there's absolutely nothing wrong with preparing. I tell brothers and sisters all the time to prepare if you have the ability to, but you can't trust in that preparation over the Most High, right? So let me see, mixed
Something
martial
else
arts.
that's beneficial, Salakia.
Oh, go ahead.
Most High put this on my spirit to say this. Something else that's beneficial behind fasting as well that I realized, and you can actually back it up with scripture too from different stories. I think also when Peter was on top of the rooftop when he was praying, when you pray when you fasting, you actually can hear what the Most High trying to like guide you to do or say to you a lot clearer than when you're actually like full off of whatever it is you was eating or whatever the case. And I can actually bear witness to that is when you fast, you can definitely your spirit is definitely more inclined to hear what he got to say or where he's trying to guide your intuition.
Con. So that's true because like when you do intermittent fasting as well, that's something that I used to do a lot when I was training, and they there's like scientific evidence that says it improves like your cognition, your energy, your sleeping, um your mood, your chemical balance, all of these different things. And the reason why is because when you're fasting, even if it's intermittent fasting, which is like you eat all your meals in 12 hours and then you fast for 12 hours every day, right? Your mind or your brain and your body isn't being used as much, right? So you're in a more relaxed or a more even like spiritually like a more peaceful state. So I could definitely see that as well. Like when you're fasting, your body's not doing all this breaking down of food and being used and all this stuff. So when you really think about it, it's like the Most High can use you through the Spirit even more, right? So that's a good point to make. Um, Mixed martial arts made it almost a little simple being in the truth, and the truth was confirmation to martial arts. I feel you, Khan. Khan, I get what you mean. Cause training, not so much the fighting aspect of it, but training martial arts, like man, it is a humbling process, right? Because there's always someone better than you. There's always someone bigger than you, and there's always someone who can whoop your ass. Let's say that. Always, man. Always. There's a few gyms down here that even though like you saw me, I'm probably like 130 something. Okay. There's certain gyms over here that it's all smaller dudes. So I go in there and I'm training for more than 10 years. and I'll be the best one there. But man, you go to another gym and you got people training less than you and they outweigh you by 100 pounds. It's gonna be a humbling process, right? And it's the same thing with this truth. Like you could be in the truth a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and somebody has more wisdom than you. And you know what? It could be somebody who has less years in the truth than you, right? That's just one. That's just one example. But then also the grind, just constantly enduring through workouts, exercises, etc. It's the same thing in the spiritual walk. Same thing. You got to be able to endure until the end in order to even like when it comes to the workouts and stuff. If you quit, man, you're gonna feel so bad. Just like brothers and sisters. I know, man. I saw one brother, man, and it broke my heart, bro. I saw a brother that used to be in the truth not too long ago, and it was on the Sabbath, and I was like, "What's up?" He didn't even think I was gonna say hi. He saw me, he put his head down. He didn't. I could tell he didn't want me to say nothing to him. I was like, "What's up, bro? How you doing?" He was like, "Oh, I'm good." But looking down, he wouldn't even make eye contact, right? And I was like, well, what were you doing or what? And he knew it was Sabbath. He was like, "Oh, nothing, man. I had to work." He was real down, and I know he knew why. You know what I mean? I knew why he was feeling that way. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's because he didn't endure, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to like physical workouts, etc., things of that nature.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so the whole purpose, I guess we'll finish actually with the same set of verses in Second Corinthians 6,
Mm.
since that answers the question, right? The answer out of most of your temptations and how to be accepted or received. I should have put received in reality, but how to be accepted or received by the Most High.
2 Corinthians 6,
And 14, Baba Kashaw.
verse 14 says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness?
Go ahead.
And what concord hath Yahushua with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what
Mhm.
agreement hath the temple of Yahweh with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as Yahweh hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith Yahweh Almighty.
So the real question is, do you really want Yahweh, the Most High, to be a father to you? Do you really want to be his son? Do you really want to be his daughter? Do you really want to be a prince of the Most High, a daughter or a princess of the Most High? Then what do you have to do? You have to come out from among them, be separate, be set apart to the best of your ability, and then he will receive you, right? And the more you strive for godliness, like we read in Psalm 4 and 3, that the Most High sets apart the godly for Himself. The more you strive to be godly, the more He's gonna um, set you apart in His own way, right? Like we read earlier, that when you draw closer to the Most High, He's gonna draw closer to you. So the more you strive to be set apart, the more He's gonna set you apart. The more you strive away from Him, the more He's gonna pull away from you. So in the end, the answer to get out of most of your temptations is before you even fall into them, you set yourself apart from them. And that is how you're going to end up being received by the Most High. All right. So you have anything you want to add out?
Man, honestly, the biggest thing, I mean, you already touched on it, but just really emphasizing the fact that, from personal experience, them temptations is not a joke. um,
Mm.
Even if you're physically around somebody, you know what I'm saying, when them demons hop on you, they don't play. They try to come with everything that they got, especially how, it was a reference you used once upon a time. You was saying how, you're like a light in a world full of darkness, and you know how the moth, flies towards the light. That's how all the demons are. They know you're the light, so they're gonna cling to you automatically, especially when you're the more valuable vessel than the person that's already chosen the side that they're on. But the biggest thing also is just not only to physically set yourself apart, but make sure to spiritually do it as well.
Most definitely. Because like you said, you're literally setting a target on your back and walking into a whole bunch of spiritual mosquitoes, basically, when you're choosing not to be set apart, right? And of course, spiritually, we got to set ourselves apart from all the false doctrines. Stay out of churches and stay away from, people or congregations of people that we know aren't actually teaching the real word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But like it says in Revelation 18 and 4, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, right? So spiritually, of course, but also physically, setting yourself apart to the best of your ability is going to keep you away from temptation and again help you to be received by the Most High, because He is holy, so we have to be holy in the same way to the best of our ability, right? So with that, let me see. I don't see any more comments. Con. So Tawada, everybody tuning in, most high willing, this was edifying at least to one of y'all, right? To at least one of you. Like it says in Luke the 15th chapter, when one sinner turns from the error of their ways or repents, all the host of heaven rejoices. So we're not looking for numbers, right? The Most High is not dealing with a whole multitude of people, right? In Sirach, it says, uh, like a drop to a wave is those that are going to be saved. So
Mm.
most high willing, it was edifying. The water, brother, y'all for hopping on. Most high willing, this will be, one of the first times of many.
Khan, I am the bar, man. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Khan, Kahala, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Wamalak, Yahweh Shai. Shalom, peace and blessings to all you brothers and sisters out there striving to follow after the will of the Most High and not after man. Right, so you have a good one,
You too, Ak Barakatah.
Rakatha.